And welcome back, Webheads.
Welcome.
Here for another episode of our wonderful show.
A wonderful show that has lasted surprisingly over a year.
Has it been a year?
Yeah.
My time of frame is all off.
Yeah, we just hit a year in August.
Feels longer.
And that's because we read a lot of shit.
We do.
I've read more in this last year and month or so. More than I ever have in my whole life previously.
I've probably done the same. It's probably been, a lot more than... Well, I mean, I was reading books a lot back then. Like 10 years ago, but...
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah, but now that when we're able to catch up on these episodes and, like, record multiple at a time, then it gives me more time to, like... Not that I don't want to read stuff like this for the show, but, like, it gives me more stuff to, like, actually... Or more time to step out and, like, read actual stories that I wanted to read.
Mm.
And on the website, I've been trying to... webheadspod.com. I've been trying to post recommendations and stuff on there. So, this gives me more time to branch out and read stuff that I haven't read before and maybe add some more recommendations up there. So, it's been, a year. People have been coming back for a year. Or maybe people have left. Maybe new people showed up. I don't know.
You guys don't talk to us.
Yeah, nobody talks to us.
But whatever.
Whatever, screw you guys.
Thanks for listening anyways.
Hello.
What have you been up to?
Let's see. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with my PlayStation 5. I'm still an old head. I got to skin it for my PlayStation. Of course I did. But I haven't put it on yet. I customized it a little bit, added some Webheads pod flair to it. So I'll probably put that on later. I got one for my controller as well. And just been reading, going to the comic book shop every Wednesday, getting whatever I have on my pull list. Daredevil's been really good. Like I said, I got some DC stuff. The Axe Judgment Day stuff has been really good. I was reading that X-Men House of 92 stuff. It was only 5 issues that I didn't like it. I finished it because I had 4 of the issues, and then after the 4th one, I was like, this is kind of boring. But I was like, let me just see how it ends. So I have all 5. I bought all 5 like a dumbass. I just didn't like it. I didn't care for it. But what we didn't talk about on the last 2 was D23.
Mm-hmm.
And what came out of there?
What did we get? We got not really a whole lot that we didn't know.
No. We got a showing of Rogers the Musical. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, Kevin Feige said that he was tired of all the other Disney heads being able to do their D23s and have musical features at the beginning of all of them. So he's like, I want to have my own this year. So he had them put on a whole 5-minute show of Rogers the Musical. It was pretty funny.
Oh, I gotta watch that.
Yeah, and then the president of the Disney parks came out later that day, and he was like, I gotta talk to Kevin about not ever doing that again. He was like, that's my thing. But what did we get? Like you said, we didn't get much of stuff that we didn't already know.
I know a lot of people were expecting big reveals. I know
Fantastic Four news.
Yeah, Fantastic Four news, X-Men news.
Yeah.
We didn't get any of that besides an announcement of the director for Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Juan kept sending me things about like who the cast was for Fantastic Four. I was like, I don't know if that was confirmed. He's like, no, it is. I was like, okay. I haven't seen anything else about it, so.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, unless I see it on a specific website I go on, I don't believe anything.
No.
Yeah, we didn't. Not a lot of news. The biggest news I think that everybody got to see was the reveal of the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, the team
Cast. Oh, I mean, and we got some Captain America news as well too. The leader's coming back for.
Oh yeah.
For that, that was pretty big.
Yeah, from the Incredible Hulk in 2008.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not really anything
Oh, we got
else.
the Hulk coming to Avengers Campus.
Oh,
That's gonna be pretty tight.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, it should be this week.
Oh,
This coming week.
I want to see what that looks like.
It looks. I'll send you the video when I find it. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. He's hella big too. It's got to be at least like 10 feet. It looked fucking awesome. But we didn't. I don't think we got much else.
Yeah, I mean, but unless you were there, like a lot of the stuff was like.
Yeah, I somebody was streaming the.
Yeah, on TikTok.
Yeah.
And I was watching it during the Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumanium.
Yeah.
And then it turned off right when the trailer was about to start. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
That was the only way they weren't gonna get kicked off.
Yeah.
So let's see. But what else was there? Yeah, I guess there wasn't much. Everybody was expecting a whole bunch of shit.
But really, I mean, with the news that we did get, I was excited for the leader coming back. Because I'm just like, okay, that's pretty cool. They're going to have Captain America, face off with this guy.
Yeah.
Who, I've seen the leader in some of the books, but I would have never thought he'd be like a formidable foe for Captain America.
Yeah, he's in every Incredible Hulk show.
Yeah.
Every cartoon there is, the leader's there. But I just sent you the Incredible Hulk that's going to be at Avengers Campus. But I don't think we'll get any actual casting for Fantastic Four until next year.
Yeah, I would say that's a pretty safe bet.
Probably mid next year, late next year.
Big Comic-Con reveal and yeah, I could see that. I kind of with the Thunderbolts thing, I'm not too happy with the casting. Or not the casting, but just the characters that they're going to use.
The team. So we got Ghosts, Taskmaster,
U.S. Agent,
Bucky, Yelena,
and Red Guardian.
Yeah.
So
it's basically just like kind of like a redemption team.
Yeah. I mean, but realistically, none of them, like the only one that would need redeeming or like a redemption team would maybe be John.
And did Ghost really change in the movie?
I mean, once she got like healed by Janet, she was kind of like, oh, okay, well, I'm okay now.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, we got
everybody
Bucky,
else is kind of like
Red Guardian.
Yeah, Bucky went through his in during Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yelena did hers in Yelena and Red Guardian both were
in Black Widow.
Solid in Black Widow.
Yeah.
So
Taskmaster,
same thing.
Yeah, because she was brainwashed the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, John Walker kind of had one at the end of.
Yeah, so it's like if you're going with like redemption, you have to go with redemption because you can't make them like villains because then that negates everything Bucky went through in Falcon and Winter Soldier. It negates almost everything that happened to Taskmaster because she was evil because she was brainwashed. Then you take away the brainwashing and then you make her evil again.
Yeah,
doesn't make any sense. But And what also doesn't make sense is at the end of Black Widow, where what's Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character?
Allegra.
Yeah, and then didn't she show that was Hawkeye?
Yeah.
So it's like, is she on a revenge mission?
Yeah.
Or what?
To me, like the silhouette, like, it was just a silhouette of like the concept art.
Yeah.
Like, where's the big strong guy? Like, they're all just super soldiers. Bucky, Red Guardian, Yelena, Taskmaster, John Walker are all super soldiers. I mean, granted, Yelena and Taskmaster don't have like any super soldier serums, but they have the training.
Yeah.
And then we have Ghost, who actually has powers that are different than everybody. Ghost and Taskmaster I probably would have been okay with. Everyone else, I don't understand why.
Unless we're gonna get like a Red Hulk or something.
I sent you a video for Nando V Movies on YouTube. It wasn't.
It was for the X-Men casting, yeah.
But he did one about Thunderbolts, and he had on his team, I think, Ghost, Zemo.
Zemo's who I thought would be on there.
Yeah, Justin Hammer. I think the leader or somebody, but essentially that was a way better lineup than what he had, because essentially they were being brought in to become a team, and they got like their superhero personas from Justin Hammer, who was given like the opportunity to make them stuff, you know. Yeah. So it just made more sense that way. I mean, granted, we don't know the story for any of this or any other characters that could pop up, but I'm not entirely excited for this movie.
Yeah, and until I got to learn more about it.
Yeah,
but it seems okay. I'm not. I didn't even realize until the other day that the Thunderbolts wasn't named after Thunderbolt Ross. I didn't know that. This whole time I thought it was like that was always like a team that he formed. And some guy on TikTok posted that is this comic book creator that's on TikTok posted a video because that's what he thought. And then somebody corrected him, and he was like, I had no idea until you told me. So I learned that the other day. But yeah, I don't think I don't think we get any X-Men until Phase 7.
Oh yeah.
And then, yeah, actual casting for Fantastic Four, I don't think we get till Comic-Con next year. Because I don't think that's information they just toss out.
Yeah. Especially, yeah.
The one Juan sent me was like, had Seth Rogen as the thing.
Yeah.
And I think it had John Boyega as Johnny Storm.
Yeah, I remember seeing something that, I said they were going to announce Denzel Washington, John Boyega.
So this is my thing. So I know everybody's been saying Keke Palmer for Rogue, right?
Yeah.
A month ago, somebody was on Twitter and was like, "Oh, who would you cast as the Fantastic Four?" I couldn't think of a good Reed, and I couldn't think of a good Ben, but I said if you're gonna bring in John Boyega into the MCU, put him as Johnny Storm. And then now that I think about it, doesn't make sense. But I said put Keke Palmer as Sue Storm. I think she's a really good actress, and I think she could pull off being serious. But she's really fucking funny, and she plays funny very well. So I wouldn't mind having her. And like I feel like Rogue, she can pull off being serious and funny in the same character, and no one thinks it's weird. But Sue is a character typically isn't really a goofy kind of person. And all this stuff is going on and on with the MCU, I'm starting to care a little bit less about things being like comic book accurate Like, I don't care if you bring in the same costume and shit like that. Or, like, the same character arc for every character that comes in. But I just, now that I think about it, like, her, Sue Storm, like, Sue's kind of, like, she has powers, but she's kind of like a boring kind of, like, mom figure in all of it. I don't want to see Keke Palmer kind of stuck in that for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I don't have any ideas for anybody for Fantastic Four. I just want to know who they're gonna cast in it and all that. But
real quick, how are you liking She-Hulk?
I love it.
We haven't talked about it.
I think it's so funny.
It's hella funny.
And like, I find it's funny. It's just kind of like a breath of fresh air in everything that we've gotten. You know, the stakes don't seem super high. No. And I was worried about it because I remember before it came out, I read this article that there's a rumor that, you know, the visual effects were like not done, and they didn't know how to put the show together because like the fourth wall breaking was like breaking everything and this and that. So I thought this was going to be a flop, and yeah, some of the visual effects are still kind of like weird in some areas, but honestly, I could look past it, and because I don't have to look at it for too long.
Yeah, it's not like a super like visual effects like heavy show.
Yeah,
like when she's at work, she's in her She-Hulk form, so like she's constantly in it there, but it's not like she's fighting all these like visual effects monsters and like villains and all that shit. I love it. That shit's hella funny.
Yeah.
There's just random things that happen in the show where it's just like I catch it and this shit's fucking hilarious.
And that's what I like about it.
The characters are good.
It's like it carries the spirit of the book really well. Where like you can read an X-Men comic book and it'll be super serious or you know, not a lot of jokes or anything, and then you can read a She-Hulk comic and then it's just her fighting someone in court about like their car getting destroyed, you know, from a superhero battle. And it takes you away from all that seriousness, and it feels like that's why I don't see why people are mad about it, that it's like taking away from those people, we know what they're mad about. Yeah. But like it's true to the spirit of the books.
If anything, it's like probably one of the most comic accurate things that we've had in a really long time. Like it's funny, the characters are like almost perfect. Like everybody loves Madison. Like how do you just bring in a random character and have everybody on the internet talk about her for like a week and a half, 2 weeks? Yeah. We've never seen Madison before this. And now everybody's on the internet talking about it's Madison with 2 N's and a Y, but it's not where you think. Like, Pug's hilarious. The last episode that I watched where they were trying to get her suit made, you watched it, right? Yeah. And then they had the bootleg Avenger shirts. Like, we have Avenger shirts and we have Avengers shirts. And they made them by the matching hats with it.
And they both wore them.
Yeah. It's like, it's so like, it's funny that this show has made me feel more involved in the other stuff. It's like, man, I wonder what it would be like to live in a world where superheroes are actually like a fucking thing. But this show has actually made me feel like what it is for just normal people to just be living life. And then you just happen to live in a world where there's fucking superheroes. Yeah. This show's been great. Yeah. And there's still like,
I think
from the time of recording, there's still like 4 more.
Yeah, because this coming week it's going to be episode 5, right? Or did we?
No, we just hit 5.
Did we?
Yeah.
Man, okay.
So I think when this episode comes out, I think there's only going to be like 1 more episode after. Yeah. After this week, there's only going to be 1 more. Yeah, I think something like that, because I know it ends in October. But yeah, if you guys haven't watched it, get over there and watch it. You can probably almost binge it at this point.
Just sit down, turn your mind off. Don't try to see where the connections are and everything in the universe.
Just watch the shit. Enjoy yourself. It's not a big law show. It's not fucking Law and Order. We're not sitting there in the courtroom the whole time. We're not arresting people for doing nasty shit.
I almost envy the people that get to watch it. Like you guys, if you haven't watched it and you're going to watch all of it now, I almost envy you because then you get to consecutively watch all of it at once and like really get it.
Yeah,
like,
I usually like try to like have Ariel watch this stuff with me because she's kind of like she likes the MCU stuff. She was watching Guardians by herself last night, unprovoked by me. And like with the shows, I try to the shows I've tried to have her watch with me like one by one. She doesn't want to do it so like with Miss Marvel and with this one, I'm trying to just wait until like it's done and finished so she can just watch the whole way through. But she's on a Star Wars kick right now, so we just started watching Star Wars yesterday. So we'll see how that goes. She sat and watched 3 movies.
The original?
We're watching them in like chronological order.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she made it to the prequels?
Yeah.
Those are usually the ones I'm scared of. And I was like, oh, this is going to turn people off real quick.
Yeah, no, she's sat through, or she's 2.5 movies, and I don't think she finished the 3rd one yet.
Okay. Are you guys going to go into Obi-Wan?
I think after after Revenge of the Sith, I think they say the Solo's next.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And then Rogue One.
Yeah. And I didn't know that Rogue One wasn't on Disney Plus yet.
It is.
I don't think so.
I just watched it like a couple weeks ago.
Really?
They may have taken it off to put it back in theaters.
Okay. Because I saw something the other day. It said Rogue One coming to Disney Plus in like 3 or 4 days or something like that.
Oh, I think maybe it looks like the Andor poster. Maybe they look like each other. But Andor's coming on to Disney Plus in like a couple days.
Oh, maybe that was it.
From the time of this recording.
Yeah. Oh, well. Let's
jump into this.
Let's get straight to this story. You know, I was a little worried going into the story because I saw Atlantis attacks. And I thought, great, we're 50 years into Marvel history.
And this guy's still
and now I got to still go back to Namor. Namor, whatever you want to call him, again. Even though I'm excited for him to show up in Black Panther this year. Because they switched him up a little bit.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem as angsty as he is in the comics. But I was worried. I was like, 12 issues in Namor? I can't do this shit. And then, surprisingly, he's not.
Nope.
He's not.
He's taken out pretty quick.
Yeah.
But I'm going to start off.
Yeah, this might turn into another 2-part episode. And if it does, DeMarco's half is the first part, which is probably the case.
Yeah.
But, yeah, let's get started.
All right. So we start off first with, and these are all annuals, if you guys are wondering.
Yeah.
We start off with Silver Surfer Annual number 2. So in this one, it starts off with the surfer gliding through space. He's had a lot of stuff on his mind recently, but he likes to just kind of glide through space and just let the universal waves take him wherever he wants to go. So he's gliding through space thinking about the Kree-Skrull war that's going on and how much he doesn't want to go back to Earth because we just treat him like shit. So he's just like, I really don't want to ever have to go back there, but this war, the Kree-Skrull war, is really something that's on my mind. But while he's just kind of gliding through space, all of a sudden his board takes like a sharp turn and it's going left, right, up, down, crisscross, reverse, just going everywhere. Mm-hmm. And normally he has complete control over his board, but now his board is just kind of doing its own thing. So it's flying around out of control until he finds it flies him into this greenish cloud that's just kind of floating in space. Mm-hmm. and he flies through it, and he because he has the power cosmic, he can kind of just see things in like the most basic form. Mm-hmm. So he sees that it's like a bacteria. So where is it? Yeah, some sort of. So the bacteria is what drew him to the cloud, because he had come across it before and then gotten on the board. Yeah. So now it was leading him back to the bigger cloud of bacteria. And so what he does is, once he gets to the cloud, he feels that it's alive in some sort of way. So he uses his cosmic powers to reform it into its original form. It ends up forming into one of, or this person named Gar, Ghaur. And Gar is essentially an eternal high priestess, high priest, and before he was going to pretty much take over, or planned on taking over the world, but was stopped by the Eternals and the Avengers, and then turned into basically nothing, and then shot into space, and that's where he's been this whole time, just kind of floating around, like trying to reform. So Guard tells Surfer, his whole plan. Basically, he wants to get this thing that's called the Serpent Crown, mm-hmm. and use it to essentially basically just turn to unleash the god Set to basically just take over the world and kill everybody. Yeah. And basic villain stuff. Him and the Surfer get into a brawl, but they both realize that they don't care what the other is really doing. Surfer's like, I don't care what you do on Earth. Like, I'm not going back there. And Gar just like, you're not really in my way of doing anything. So they kind of just stop their fight, and then they just like let each other go their separate ways. Oh yeah, and then so as they're flying their separate ways, Surfer is like, well, I guess I better let someone on Earth know what's happening. So he sends like a basic just like mind message to Earth, mm-hmm. and it goes and it gets to Doctor Strange, and it gets to, I forget her name. I want to say Mirage.
I think that's who it was.
Yeah, she's part of Alpha Flight. Yeah. But they both get the message, and it's just basically saying, hey, keep a watch out. Something might be going on. And that's pretty much it. Yeah. So Surfer is just like, all right, you guys deal with this. This is your problem now. Where was I? Yes, and then Gar makes it to Earth and heads straight to Luminera, which is an underwater city similar to Atlantis. There, he kicks names and takes ass and brings out someone he needs for his plan, and this person is Lyra, a villain with an origin similar to Namor. She is imprisoned in Lemuria, and the two come to an agreement that they shall work together to get the crown. So, essentially, Gar just gets reformed and then comes down to Earth. Yeah. But what's funny when I was reading this is, like, he's in space fighting Silver Surfer, like, just as himself, no mm-hmm. suit or anything. He comes back to Earth, dives into the water, fights all these other, prison guards and everything, mm-hmm. no suit, whatever. The next time we see him at Iron Man Annual number 10. And it opens with Gar and Lyra presenting their Shark Tank pitch to Tuma, but Gar's in like a whole like underwater suit this time, like he can't breathe. So
hey, sharks.
So yeah, they're presenting their pitch to him, and they need his army cooperating with the army of Lumera and the Deviant army in order to strike the surface people. So we all know Atlanteans hate surface people. Mm-hmm. Deviants like killing people. Yeah.
And also Atlantis hates the Lemurian people as well.
So it's going to take some cooperation in order to get all these armies going together.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're trying to get their armies together to strike the surface people. Atuma's all down for the cause as long as he gets to rule after, because that's all he ever wants to do. Is just he's just power hungry, so he just wants to rule as many people as possible. We then cut to old Shellhead Iron Man on a mission under the sea, as he's following two small subs belonging to, I put the Maggie family, but that's not their name. It's I forgot what their name was. I remember after I typed this, I was like, I gotta fix this, and I never did. But basically, it's just a mob family.
Is it the Magia?
Yeah, the Magia.
Oh, okay.
They have two submarines that he's following, because I believe they're pushing drugs or something, or some sort of stuff.
Imagine the mob, like, just being like, we got two subs. Take it around the corner to Queens and drop them. That's like, the fuck?
Oh, man. Home stuff. So Iron Man's following these submarines, and then he also sees that Namor is also flying around above, being a dick to people, stopping any ship that he sees, like some sort of troll toll. He's flying to all these ships asking if they know his late wife's daughter, and he figures the best place to start is looking for her on any ship he sees. More coincidentally, the ship he stops is actually a Hydra ship. They break character as soon as Namor opens his mouth, and they begin shooting at him. Not much of a challenge for him, but when Stark comes and saves his life anyways. The two start beating the Hydra goons like they owe them lunch money. And then when the real authorities show up, the captain goes down with the ship and blows himself and the ship up too. The two head back to Stark Enterprises, and they go to a meeting with Tony Stark on what to do next. After Stark is in a Professor X hovering wheelchair because he got shot previously by a crazed fan and now can't use his legs.
You ever think about how some of these, not even just in comic books, but just in life, how some people believe in something so much that they'll die for it? Like, how are you a Nazi and still, like, how did you ever go in and, like, no, like most people are cool. I just want to be able to protect my country. And then they come in and, like, no, we are killing all Jewish people. And then you're like, well, if that protects my country, I gotta do it.
Yeah.
And then just in this story, there, like, the captain, like, blew up the ship and himself. He's like, and is that he's just like, gotta protect Hydra.
Yeah, you gotta have some,
like, sorry, man, if I'm going down, like, if I'm gonna die, I'm not saving you guys.
I would just let him take me to jail.
Yeah.
You get
this man has wings on his feet. If, like, I'm on the ship like this with my hands up, like, hey, just take me.
Yeah, so we run into, we go see Stark. He's in his cool wheelchair. I put, also Stark is in a Professor X hovering a wheelchair because he was shot previously by a crazed fan. Celebs are people too, everyone. Let's give them some space. Back to the biggest bathtub around, the ocean and the armies of Atlantis, Lumera, and the Deviants began their slow assault to the surface. They use the Panama Canal as their way through, and Iron Man and Namor fly back to Panama and split up. After Namor spots tank tracks on the ocean floor, he goes and follows those while Iron Man goes to find the warehouse in the original Hydra ship. He finds the warehouse is being used to make a drug that basically turns users into mindless drug heads, so it's essentially crack. Iron Man says no to drugs and human lives and destroys everything and everyone in the warehouse. But there's one more ship heading to the Panama Canal, with the huge shipment headed straight to reveal the undersea people hitching a ride on the ship. Fighting breaks out and Iron Man begins microwaving the sea people in their suits. Namor has the weakest death I've ever seen, and Iron Man goes home. Basically, Namor lands on a ship, the ship that they're supposed to stop. Mm-hmm. He lands on it, and then has a short conversation with the captain.
Yeah.
And then the captain's like, "I'm not going down," and blows up the ship. And then that's it. You don't even see. You're not even. The panel's not even in the cockpit or the captain's quarters. Yeah. It's from the outside, and you just see a silhouette of.
It's like MacGyver style.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like you're just outside the ship and it just blows up.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I guess he's dead.
Yeah. And so, let's see. Oh yeah. So and then Iron Man just goes home after. He's just like, oh man.
Like my thing is, okay, you had to stop the ship from getting to America with the drugs, right? But they were in the Panama Canal. You had like a day or two.
Apparently, this Panama Canal is just like open this door.
They're driving like speedboats through the. Like, to get through the canal? Yeah, like that's a couple. Like I don't know how long it's gonna take. Probably quick, but to get from the Panama Canal up to America,
you have time.
You have time. They're not driving a speedboat through there.
And then Iron Man goes home, and that's pretty much the end of that. Also, in like a short epilogue, Atuma's daughter shows up and vows to stop him, and that's pretty much all that's. He didn't know he had a daughter, but she shows up and basically says, "I'm your daughter. I'm going to stop you from doing what you're doing." Yeah. And then he turns into like a creep and is like, "Come here and give me some kisses." And then she's like, "Gross snow."
You nasty. And also, there's like in these annuals, there's like a sub story after the original story to kind of explain how the Serpent Crown came about.
Yeah.
I didn't read any of it.
Basically, there's like elder gods. Mm-hmm. There's Set, who
is the one that they're trying to bring back to life now. Yeah.
There's was it Catan, the guy who created the Darkhold and all that. And then there's another one. I forgot their name.
Yeah, not important. Yeah. Just wanted to let you guys know that if you go back and read it, there's like that little sub story.
And basically, it's just you guys can go check it out. Yeah. Basically, the Serpent Crown is just it possesses someone with power to end up killing people.
Yeah, it's a crown of snakes.
Yeah. We then jump to Uncanny X-Men. Gar recently hired the Serpent Society to steal some needed artifacts, one being owned by a character named Mr. Jip, who is honestly the creepiest character I've ever seen.
He really is.
Yeah, that's what I put. Honestly, one of the creepiest dudes I've ever seen. I'm going to skip everything in the story because it makes no sense and does not move the story forward at all. Just know that at the end, Gar gets what he wants and is one step closer to bringing Set back. Essentially, in this story, Diamondback of the Serpent Society and Dazzler switch bodies. And then Dazzler, or Diamondback in Dazzler's body, tries to make a move on Wolverine while he's sleeping. And then the X-Men team have to go to Mr. Jip to try to get all this. It has nothing to do with the story.
Yeah, I don't know why they forced everybody to read that.
All it was just, here's the thing that you need. There you go. We then jump to Amazing Spider-Man. A mindless abomination is going all out all over town, breaking shit. And Gar makes She-Hulk and basically, Abomination has his mind. Someone was in his body, and then they took that person out of Abomination's body and put him back in his original body, but they left the Abomination body empty. Yeah. And so that empty vessel just became this angry rage monster.
A mindless monster.
Yeah. So Spider-Man and She-Hulk fight him all over town, eventually get him down, but She-Hulk gets knocked out at some point, and Gar comes and marks her with like a special tattoo. And
he marks her to become one of the 7 brides of Set, I think it was. Yeah.
Which is super annoying when I was reading, because I think on the read list that you have on the thing, it says to read like West Coast Avengers or something, but it comes before this story.
Yeah.
So the first panel is seeing these 7 women standing there. I'm like, what the hell did I miss?
I'm telling you, and like sometimes like the lists don't make sense because half of one story is set before, like the last 2 that I read, and then the second half of this issue is pushing the story forward.
Yeah.
So now it's like you've ruined a whole bunch of shit for me, or you spoiled like something that's supposed to happen in 4 issues ahead. And it's like, come on, guys. But every list that I found for this story set the same exact way.
And it's because one piece in like the second story in it takes place, like you said, prior to this one, like, or something.
How did some of these events, like, you guys plan this shit horribly.
I don't get how you can plan it horribly.
You're in control. You wrote the story.
You guys literally have meetings probably and say, hey, I want to have this character do this.
Hey, I got 6 of you guys writing 2 stories each. This is what's going to happen. It's going to come out here, 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 and here. Make it work. It's like, how are you spoiling the story? 6 that's supposed to come up like 4 issues down.
And then the last one we have is the Punisher. Punisher and Moon Knight stop Hydra. At this point, you can tell in my writing where I was like just over.
Oh yeah.
Right.
This man had like full paragraphs for the first couple ones, and then this last one is just like a little blurb.
And then this one, Punisher and Moon Knight stop Hydra. Agent Viper plans of using the drugs to turn homeless people into serpent people. That's New York for you. And then Punisher gets turned into one of these serpent people, and Moon Knight saves them. But then Punisher wakes up naked in Moon Knight's house.
Yeah. And
no connective tissue really besides that.
Never explained.
And that's pretty much my half.
Yeah. So I guess because mine's a little bit more lengthy, and I took more notes. So we'll call this an episode here, and call this part 1, just to make it easy on everybody else. So you're not sitting here for 2 hours doing this like we are. But thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for hanging out again this week. Thanks for being patient on these 2-part episodes. I know sometimes some people don't like stuff like this. There's other shows that I listen to that do 2 parts. I'm like, maybe you could have just gave it in 1. But I get it. Something like there's not everybody sits in their car for 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
So, and not everybody has 2 hours during their week to sit down and listen to a podcast. I'm trying to make this as easy and accessible for everybody. But if you just wait till next week, then you could do that too. Or, yeah.
You guys can listen to this anytime you want.
Anytime you want, however you want to. Listen to part 2 first for all I care. As long as you listen. On that note, thanks everybody for coming back again. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for not talking to us on Instagram. And we'll be back next week.
You heard it here first, folks. We'll be back next week.
Yes. Unless things change. Bye-bye.
Bye.